Here we're asked to show that this equation has at least two solutions, and it looks like the intermediate value theorem might be useful. So our first step will be to rewrite this equation as f of x equals 0, where f of x is a continuous function of x. Since the intermediate value theorem applies only if f of x is continuous on the interval in question, we need to verify that f of x is continuous here. But f of x is a polynomial which is continuous on its domain, and its domain is all of the real numbers, so this function is going to be continuous on any interval where we want to apply the intermediate value theorem. Now, to use the intermediate value theorem to show that we have two solutions, we must find two intervals on which f changes sign, and those intervals must have non-overlapping interiors. To find the endpoints of these intervals, we're going to use trial and error. We'll start by trying the interval from 0 to 1. We see that our function does indeed change sign on the interval from 0 to 1, so we can conclude that there is a solution to our equation somewhere between 0 and 1. So far, only one solution is guaranteed. We must now search for another interval where the function changes sign. We must make sure that the interior of this new interval does not overlap with the open interval from 0 to 1. That will exclude the possibility that the new root is the same as the one we just found. Since we're only worried about overlap of the interiors of both intervals, we can use 1 as the left endpoint of our new interval. We already know that f of 1 is negative, so we'd like to pick an x value to the right of 1 with f of x greater than 0. Now we know that as x gets very large, that x to the 4 will dominate the value of f of x. So we know for large values of x, f of x will be positive. Let's check if 10 is large enough to make f of x positive. We now have two intervals on which f of x changes sign, which guarantees a solution to the equation in the interior of both. The intervals do not overlap, so we can conclude that at least two solutions are not the same, and that the equation f of x equals 0 has at least two solutions.